Loves, it's me, Keisha, and I am here with my all tea, all shade Love and Marriage DC Season 1, Episode 1 review. I must say that I did enjoy the series premiere of Love and Marriage DC. It's a totally different vibe than Love and Marriage Huntsville, which I love. I truly loved it, and I think this is going to be a very strong first season. First off, I want to remind you guys that next week I'll be on vacation. I won't be returning until the following Tuesday. So all next week you'll only have episodes of Spill the Tea and Behind the Scenes tea dropping. No reviews next week. When I get back, all reviews will resume. Okay, now let's get into tonight's episode. So we start off with Monique. She is back. Remember Monique from Real Housewives of Potomac, and she reacquaints us with herself. You know, she has a podcast. She has her company, Not for Lazy Moms, and her essential oils and everything else that she does. So she is out here just booked and busy. I love Monique's locks. I love the fact that she went natural. Her hair up in that ponytail with the crinkle locks was giving me life. Stepping out of the big body Bentley, I was like, yes, ma'am. I loved her intro. It was so fierce. So she's having a Not for Lazy Mom event at this store called Kendra Scott. And I just love the glamour of it all. It's good to see this cast in like different boutiques and stores and restaurants and stuff. We don't really get that with the Huntsville cast. And I really like that we're getting a totally different vibe in DC. So Ashley and Arena, the other two castmates, they arrive, and Winter is also there as well. I did peep Tasha in the back. Hey, Tasha girl. You know, I interviewed all the ladies except for Winter and Monique. I did reach out to Winter. I do want to interview her once the season ends, and everybody else that I already interviewed, as well as Monique. Okay, so when Arena arrives, she right off the bat peeps that something ain't right with Winter based off her haircut, because she recently had shaved off one side of her hair, giving us very Cassie 2010. So she asks, you know, Winter, are you, what's good? Like, you all right? And Winter was like, you know, things aren't that good, but you know, we're going to keep it cute for now. So the event starts and Monique speaks, and then she introduces Winter, which is her guest, her special guest for that event. So Winter gets up and she introduces herself, and she tells the audience about her background, which is that she used to be married to an NFL player that actually played with Chris. So she and Monique have known each other for quite some time. But she also lets us know that her ex-husband had an affair with their nanny, and that he had not one but two babies on her. And I was like, well, hot diggity goddamn. Why was Winter not in the beginning with everybody else? She needed to be a main cast member, and she needed to have been, you know, in all of the promos, because she got the craziest story thus far. So everybody was gagging at the event and at home. Irena and Ashley was looking at each other like, girl, what in the entire fuck is going on here? So Ashley then leans over and whispers in Irena's ear. She was like, I drink when I get bored, and this is my fourth drink. So I was like, she's bored by Winter's speech. Like, she was telling about her life. Like, I didn't understand what was so boring about it, because baby, I would have been all ears. Like, when nothing boring about what we did in fact get to hear. So I didn't really understand that. So we already seeing a little shade coming from Ashley when it comes to Winter right off the gate. Then we see after, the speaking part is done, the ladies, group up, and Irena invites everyone to her anniversary party. Her and her husband, Jamie, are about to celebrate their 26th anniversary. And I just love the Tylers. They were such a dope couple to interview. I just love them. So Monique was like, you're going to have to have a Q&A, because we need to know how y'all have lasted all these years. And Irena was like, girl, I'm not about to be doing no Q&A at my anniversary party. Like, this is not Dr. Phil, sis. I'm here to shake my ass and grind on my husband Peter Weeder and get lit. So Ashley was like, yeah, you gotta have one, because I was like 10 when y'all got married. And Irena, I don't know if they cut it to look like that, but from what they showed us, Irena looked at her like, I know you fucking lying, bitch, because we look the same damn age. I don't give a fuck if you was 10 when we fucking got married. So she peeped the shade, and in her confessional, she was like, Ashley always throwing the age thing around. It's cool though. I got you, Ashley. So we see now that Ashley is the shade thrower of the group. Like, she is shady boots, and I wonder is her mouth gonna get her into a lot of trouble this season. So Irena then asked the ladies for gift ideas, and Ashley was like, shit, you gonna have to wake them up with some booty shaking. And so she gets up and bends over and touches her ankle and shakes her butt on Monique. She was like, I bet you ain't never woke him up like that. And she was like, the other thing you give him basically is some sloppy toppy. And Irena in her confession was like, girl, we've been together for 26 years. You don't think I done did that? Like, that's like wiping my ass with toilet tissue. Girl, ain't nothing new. That ain't shit new over here, baby doll. Now, doing some pegging, some whips and chains, baby, that's something different. But that is like a regular ass Monday night. So, then we go to Chris and Monique's house, and Chris has lost a lot of weight since we last saw him on the Housewives or whatever. So he's exercising and everything. And Monique says in her confessional that she and Chris are in a weird space. They're coming up on 10 years, or either they're already at 10 years, but things is kind of like really weird for them, And Chris says in his confessional that, the emotional connection has fell off lately. And, it gets like that in relationships. Everything is not a high moment. You have your ebbs and flows when it comes to relationships and marriages, and you have to work at it. Marriage is work. And I think that a lot of people fantasize and romanticize marriage, but it's not that simple. It's not that easy. So then we go to Irena's home, and she's working, and we see her mom in the kitchen cooking, and she like, Mama, I smell some food. When you gonna be done? And her mama looked at her like, heifer, I will come in there and backhand you. You better leave me the hell alone while I'm in here cooking this shrimp. And then we meet her son, her second son, Jason, who is visually impaired, and we talked about that on my interview with them. And like I said, he looked just like Al B. Sure. I need a DNA test. That is not Jamie's son, child. That is Al B. Sure's son, Irena. I don't believe you. She talks to Jason about their party and the outfit and everything that she got him. And we then see them all sit at the table for dinner, and Irena brings up their first son, little Jamie, to big Jamie, and he like, oh Lord, like what the fuck did happen now? Because anytime it seems like they bring up his name, that something bad is going to be attached to it. And she was like, no, he just said that he's going to come to the party. And so Jamie was like, oh, he gonna come? Oh, okay. And then that's when we learn in his confessional that, if little Jamie don't show up, it's gonna be a problem. And I was like, ooh, well, what's going on here? It's obvious that there is tension amongst father and son, which I hate to see. So then we go to Ashley and Quicksilver's home. They have two beautiful kids with each other and a dog. And we meet Quick, and he's a very famous, popular DJ. They've been married for 13 years, and she feels like a married single mom because she's always with the kids, always doing stuff for their family, holding down the household. But she has her own endeavors that she's trying to do with her own podcast and her boutique, and she's trying to write a book, and all of these different things, and he's always gone, so it's hard for her to find time for herself. And she voices this to him, and he goes on to say that he knows that he needs to step it up. And she like, yeah, you really do, because it seems to me like she feels like she's losing herself in his shadow. Like, he's able to be out here and focus on himself and reach his dreams, but she's having to put everything on hold for him. She even said that, she dropped out of school for him and all of this stuff. So it does get to a point where it's like, what about me? Like, when is it gonna be my turn? And sometimes you just have to force your turn. You just can't wait, because you'll be waiting forever. So then we see Arena take Lil Jamie to go look at cars, and she was like, she's the one taking him, even though she don't know shit about cars, because he's too afraid to go to his father about the situation. But she lets him know, just because I'm taking you don't mean I'm paying for nothing. Like, this is on you. Like, this is your responsibility, little homie. And our sons are around the same age, if I'm not mistaken. I think Lil Jamie's around 25, my son is around 22, so I totally understand the relationship of which they have. So Irena tells Lil Jamie that she and his father, had a conversation about him, and his relationship with Jamie isn't what it used to be, and how she worries about him, and that she needs him to be more responsible and just get his life together, because he out here wilding or whatever. And you can see the look of disappointment on his face. You can tell he doesn't like to upset his mother or his parents, period. So Jamie, and Lil Jamie, his confessional says, I never wanted a messed up relationship with my dad. And it's really unfortunate where they were. I think things are much better now. But Irena also tells him that, she prays for him every time she leaves the house, and that, his father even says sometimes that he might not come home one day, and that the police gonna be at their door. So they worried about him. It's obvious that he's out here doing shit that he ain't supposed to be doing, wilding out, not really living up to his full potential. And his father is disappointed in him and not happy with the decisions and the choices that he's making. And Irena cries, because as a mother, you worry about your black sons every time they walk out the door. With me, myself, and my son, doesn't smoke weed, doesn't get in trouble or any of those types of things, but I still worry about him just because the simple fact that he is black. So you already have a target on your back, whether you are considered good or you considered bad. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter. So as a parent, you always worry about your child when they're not in your presence, especially when they're out here doing shit on their own, and you can't be there to protect them and guide them to make the right decisions and choices. So, she's crying and everything, and Lil Jamie was like, I'm gonna keep trying, I'm gonna get it together, mama. And she was like, just reach out to your father, talk to your daddy, because y'all need to get this shit together. And I 100% agree. So it's the day of Irena and Jamie's anniversary party, and Chris, Monique, and Winter are there first. Chris and Monique look really nice or whatever, especially Monique. I loved her dress and everything. I loved Winter's makeup. Her hair, for me, in this scene looked a lot better for me. It wasn't so jarring, but I actually love, because y'all know I got a buzz cut or whatever. But I loved her hair and the makeup in this scene. Now, this school mom dress, ma'am, like, where's you going with this dress on, Winter? This is like a nightclub setting. Like, that was giving me Liberian. It was giving me Little House on the Prairie. It was buttoned up. Then you had the ruffles on the chest and the long sleeve, and the skirt was giving me, first Sunday at church. It was just the wrong dress for the wrong event. I'm like, girl, how we gonna meet husband number 3, but you out here dressed like that? Burn that dress ASAP. So Chris asks Winter how are things with her and her current husband, Kevin. And Winter was like, we not together. And she was like, it's been 6 months since I last saw him. She was like, we were about to celebrate our first year anniversary, and I got a message that rocked my world, and he wouldn't even talk about it. He literally moved back to his parents' house. And Monique hit me with the one hitter quitter. She said, ain't he like 60? And Winter was like, yeah, girl, he is almost 60. And I'm like, excuse you, ma'am? I know you fucking lying. What? First of all, was he living with his mama when you married him? This man ain't got no money. What is going on here that this nigga is 60 and he left you and went back to his mama house? He ain't got no money to get his own place. But apparently we gonna find out that he a scammer or something. So, child, I can't wait to find out this story, because this is some foolishness. So Ashley and Quick arrive, and Ashley says, she wants some tips on marriage too, because Quick works too much, and she, he need to slow down and pay more attention to his household. So then the Tylers arrive in grand fashion with the whole family, minus Lil Jamie. And soon as they sit down, Monique get to asking her about the Q&A about relationships and stuff, and they sitting there like, what the fuck is this, Ricky Lake? What? No, girl, we not doing this. But Monique said in her confession the reason why she was pressing the issue is because, she don't want to end up like her parents. Her parents got divorced when they were in their early 20s, and then she said that Chris' parents basically just act like friends, and she don't want to end up like this. Like, she really wants some advice from some OGs or whatever. So I understood that, but it was just the wrong time. Like, ain't nobody trying to get into all our life stories and rehashing bad and sad moments and good moments. This is just not the right time. We can do a one-on-one later. So then Look Jamie arrives with his little boo thing or whatever, and we find out that he and his father haven't actually spoken in 6 months, and that's very sad because I just couldn't imagine not talking to Kyrese for 6 months. I just couldn't imagine that. And it's especially with what I just went through health wise. And I know that the Tylers will watch my channel. Life is too short. We are not promised tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And it's especially when it's a loved one and it's your child. You don't want to spend months and days and hours and seconds and minutes not talking to them over stuff that can literally be fixed and healed. They didn't know this when I did my interview with them, but you all know that I just got done, battling breast cancer. And so my first train of thought when I even found out that I had breast cancer was, Lord, don't take me from my son. I'm not ready. So you don't never know what life is going to bring us today or tomorrow. And cherish every moment with your son, with your family, with your husband, your wife, your children, or whatever, because life is not promised and it could all be gone tomorrow. So love on your kids. I know they make us mad. We get disappointed and upset with them, but always figure out a way to bring it back. You know what I'm saying? So Lil Jamie asked to talk to his father, and they step off to the side, and he says that, he was getting high every day and hanging out with the wrong people. And as a parent, anybody would be upset about that because, we see the potential in our children. We want the best for our children. We work so hard to provide them a better life than what we had. And when we see them squandering everything that we work so hard for, it is very disheartening. So, Jamie was like, if you keep it up, you're going to be in jail or dead, which is some real true tea that, Lil Jamie needed to hear. And Lil Jamie was like, but I'm grown and y'all still treat me like a little kid. And Jamie was like, because we love you. But it's also like they treat you like a little kid because you acting like a little kid. Like at some point you have to grow the fuck up. Like you're 25 years old. Nobody's telling you got to have it all together. But the life that you're leading is leading you nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And we have to give you that tough love. And if I don't protect you or guide you, who's going to do it? Not these little niggas you hanging in the streets with. Obviously, they ain't got shit going for them. When you going through something, who the first person you run to? Mama and daddy. Because we going to have your back regardless. But them niggas ain't. You know what I'm saying? And so Jamie, his confession was like, I give him tough love because that's what my dad did to me. Because, I was out here, wilding or whatever, and somebody had to get me together. So Jamie was like, you already know I love you. Like, I love you, son. And Lil Jamie was like, sometimes I do need to hear that, that you love me. And Jamie was like, I'll do better. And in that scene, I could really see the pain in Lil Jamie's face. You can tell that he really yearns for his father's love and approval and that he wants to make him proud. And you could tell that he's disappointed within himself. And I think that he might have what's going on with my own son going on with himself is that he has a fear of failure. He has such big shoes to fill with his parents. And it's like, how do I do what they've done? They're so successful. Can I do it? Will I be able to do it? Because that's one of the things that I'm going through with my own son, where he wants to be his own boss like I am. He wants to be successful like I am. But I feel like he feels like he has such big shoes to fill that it almost makes him feel inadequate. But, as a parent, I can see how he can be successful, So I saw that in Lil Jamie, you know what I'm saying? You can see that he has fear of failure within him and he trying to figure it out, but he just hasn't gotten there yet. And prayerfully he will. So then we go to Chris and Monique at their home, and they're talking about the anniversary party, and they say how the Tylers were very guarded and didn't want to really say what they had been through. And I was like, well, nobody wants to talk about that at their anniversary party. Nobody wants to relive the hard times that we had to fight through at our anniversary party. This is a day of joy and happiness. So I don't think it's a matter of them being guarded. It's just the wrong time, wrong place, and ain't nobody trying to do that. So Monique then brings up, Chris's counseling with his counselor Terry, and how his counselor at one point didn't feel like she could really reach him without Monique joining in on his sessions. And so Chris was like, hopefully, you can hang in there with me, because he was like, I'm trying. And she was like, well, it's been a decade. And Chris was like, it's worth it. Be patient. And she looking at him like, nigga, what? Like, how much longer you want me to fucking wait? You ain't taking all my good years with your foolishness. So Monique apparently asked him to write a list of things about himself because she doesn't want to continue to assume things about him that aren't true. And he was supposed to do this like in a week, and it's been a month and he still hasn't done it. So she calls him out on it. He was like, you right. But it was like you right, like he was trying to like just dead it and be done with it and not really listen to what she had to say. And Monique was like, at that moment, did you feel like it wasn't important? And Chris was like, I know it's important. And she was like, then why would you say we're not meeting with Terry? So why should I do it? And he was like, I apologize if I made you feel that way. Oh my God, I hate when people say that. That is not an apology. Obviously, you made me feel some type of way, you dingbat. Just say simply, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Not if you made me feel that way. Ain't no if about it, nigga. So Monique was like, we always brush stuff under the rug. That's what we've been doing for years. It's what your family does. And I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. It's basically like you just trying to get me to shut the fuck up. So Chris is like, you know what? I'm sick of this. Like, you can have that. Like, and things just end on a bad note between them two. And I was like, Lord, here we go. But they have been having communication issues since, the Real Housewives of Potomac. So hopefully and prayerfully they'll be able to work their way through this. But overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the series premiere of Love and Marriage DC. I feel like this is a strong cast and this is going to be a very strong season. Overall, I give episode 1 an A. I was really enthused with the glitz and glamour of it all, the brewing stories, the shade, all of it. Can't wait for next week's episode, even though I won't be able to review it because I'll be on vacation. But yeah, strong episode. Proud of everyone. Okay, so this is the end of my review, you guys. I love you. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.